Welcome back to the Workday Recap here on the Dev Mentor Dave channel, streaming live on Twitch and YouTube right here most Mondays through Fridays, 4 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Central United States time. Hopefully you are having a good day. I am having a pretty good day. Lots of busyness going on in my world with the old job and lots of different things going on, lots of different projects, and learning some new things and some fun things, and being frustrated by a few things, but life is generally good, so that's always good. Laravel recently updated its server management platform called Forge to their new design, and I did not have access to the beta testing on that, so I've spent a lot of my day today between phone calls and things playing around with the Forge UI and the way that they've moved everything around completely. So that was lots of fun trying to figure out where all that stuff is while I'm trying to set up new platforms and things. So lots of learning. That's one thing. If you're going to jump into this business, if you're going to be a developer, you're going to have to continue learning. It's a lifelong learning process. So especially if you do end up staying in the in more of the dev route and you're not jumping into like management and things like that, you are going to have to keep learning the entire time. The only thing that might keep you from having to learn something new is if you get hooked up with a company that uses old legacy systems that they don't want to upgrade from. I shouldn't say upgrade, that they don't want to move on from, and you're one of the few people who know that system anymore. Something like COBOL, which is still being used in many older organizations, especially financial organizations. That's exactly right, Dan. They moved my cheese. Those doggone Laravel people, I tell you what. Though I will say I did already find one thing that is better. Sorry if I'm being weird. I got a pain right in the middle of my shoulder blade, and it's been driving me nuts for the last half hour. So yeah, if I start doing weird things with my shoulder, I don't have a tick, I promise. It's just, well, I might have a tick, I don't know. That's not necessarily a tick. So, but yeah, they completely changed the UI. So I was frustrated, but I did find one thing. So, the old process for adding SSL through Let's Encrypt in the old version of the Forge system it only worked for like certain registrars, and now it uses CNAME. It's odd it uses CNAMEs, but instead of using like text entries, but whatever, it uses a CNAME entry so that you can do it for any registrar that you have access to. So that was nice. That was a good upgrade. There are good things that I think are going to be helpful and useful long term, but having to reset up some things. One thing that annoyed me is for some reason my SSH keys, all the SSH keys were deleted for users. I don't know why that happened, but it's not the end of the world to add it back again. It's just annoying. So there you go. Let's see, and that's why React stinks. There you go. Let's see. Ming had something to say besides welcome me as my youthful grandpa self, which is fantastic. Why do companies love sending out online assessments? I really don't like doing them. Partially to weed out people like you that don't want to do them. To be perfectly honest with you, that's step number one in finding a way to weed out people who maybe are not real. So somebody who's not real is not going to take an exam, most likely. So that could be one reason why they will send out assessments. So I find it's mostly a filtering mechanism. So it's probably filtering people who are real, as well as filtering people who are really interested in actually working at that company. And then thirdly, filtering people who may or may not measure up to what they think they need from a competency level. As far as those online assessments. But I do agree. I think I've never been a huge fan of online assessments. especially the way that they're designed, right? Online assessments, typically the ones that I've seen, have always been more of a process where you have to answer test questions, right? And somebody can be a great developer but not be very good at doing tests, right? Tests are they're theoretically objective, but they're in a sense also subjective, because not everybody handles the pressure of a test well. And somebody can write code when they're not being pressured with somebody looking over their shoulder, or when they're not being pressured by an exam. And and if they're doing it through an exam, then that gives you an inaccurate understanding of that person's ability and knowledge and experience. So I just think it's one of those. It's a filtering mechanism that companies use, and like almost all of them, it's weak, and but I would say in this day and age, honestly though, when you've got some companies who are getting thousands of people trying to apply, and they're using AI, and you've got a lot of fake applications. If you can do like a mass mailing of something like that, you're going to weed out a lot of them right away. So it's, again, is it my preference? No, but I think I think it's an option. Well, and so Ming says everyone's going to use AI to complete them anyway, so what's the point? Well, so more than likely the AI applicants aren't going to even see the request, right? So that's going to weed out a lot of them at that point. So when you don't get a response that someone has completed the application, you can automate your software to remove them from the process, right? So it is a way. It could be an expensive way of doing it. There might be some cheaper ways to automate that process, and um, eventually anything that you do is going to eventually get figured out, and scammers are going to you know find ways around it, because that's just what they do, because that's the type of people they are. Um, so there you go. Actually, I think Forge might be React, although um, they they are pretty good with Vue too. So let's Laravel Forge. The web is your frontier. Ooh. Forge in 4 minutes. I will say setting up a site, I think, is much better. I overall, I think the new updated design is really good. Um, but it's just taken a little while to get into it. Let's see. Let's see if there's any way to know. I don't know if there's any good telltale signs. Build assets. Build assets. That could be Laravel. Ooh, I wonder. Let's ask. Let's take this domain and see if ChatGPT can figure it out. What front end framework is this website using? This will be interesting. I found a clue. Yeah, I thought it would probably be Vue. I was right. Good guess on me. Ha ha. See, even Laravel knows that React stinks. There you go. Found a clue in a recent Laravel blog post. Next generation Forge UI is built with TypeScript, Inertia.js, and Vue. I'm sure they probably said that at Laracon, and I just didn't pay attention. Ooh, this is interesting. If you like, I can verify by inspecting the live site, but I'm to be sure. Yes, please. We'll spend an extra token to be nice. Poked around, Here's what I found. Evidence is pretty strong that forge.laravel.com uses Vue.js and inertia with TypeScript. Yeah, Forge docs, inertia, server-side rendering, toggle, blah, 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 blah. Cool. There you go. That's interesting. So, I wonder how it would do in checking another site. Let me think. What do you think the overlap or what constraints make you choose this Forge versus Laravel Cloud? Great question. So I actually was dealing with this today. So, and just for fun, so cloud.laravel.com. I think that's what it is. Yeah. So as you can see, they're using very similar layouts. The idea really was for the update for Forge was to look more like Cloud. So the big thing about Cloud, where's my mouse? There it is. Okay. The big thing about Cloud is that Cloud is designed to be fully managed by them. So you log in, you create your I don't know if I have a I don't think I have an account for Dev Mentor Dave. So Forge Laravel Cloud is really cool for setting up a quick website for a quick deployment process, I should say. If you've got a Laravel application and you've got it in like a Bitbucket account or something like that, or GitHub, you can connect that to Laravel Cloud. You literally can be up and running with an application in a matter of a minute. Once your repo settings are in there, and again, now that depends on how big of an application you're trying to push out and things like that, right? The issues that I've found so far is because Laravel Cloud is a managed service, you do not have nearly the same amount of access and control that you have with something like Forge. So Forge is more for the person who understands, how servers work and can log into SSH into them and make changes and things like that. But it makes a lot of your basic stuff easier to manage instead of just going to like AWS and setting everything up manually yourself, right? So it's like you've got something like GCP or AWS or Azure, things like that, where you've got your cloud environment and you've got to set everything up yourself. Then you've got Forge, which makes a lot of things easier, but still gives you a lot of like access to everything, really. So like I can SSH into any of our Forge servers and make updates into the database, things like that. With Laravel Cloud, though, this guy over here, you don't get access to, like, you can't SSH into your server because they manage that for you. So, so far, what I've seen, if you're setting up a fairly straightforward, simple application that really doesn't need like multi-tenancy, subdomains, things like that, so you can do some of that. But like if you're getting into a more complex application, or you just need to have the flexibility to be able to log into your application and your servers and things like that, cloud is probably not going to be what you want to do. If you're somebody who's like maybe a freelancer and you build quick applications or even quick websites with Laravel or something like that, cloud could be a really, really good option for you because you're not doing anything complex. You don't necessarily have to dig into the server. You can get all your logs and metrics and things like that from Laravel Cloud. That to me is really where Laravel Cloud shines at the moment. There might be some things in like enterprise that it doesn't really give. This is interesting. Cloud versus Forge. One thing with cloud is you're kind of stuck with their backend architecture as well. So you're going to be stuck with AWS at least for the moment. They did just sign some agreements with DigitalOcean for the Forge side, not for the Laravel Cloud side. So if you can get some cheaper droplets on DigitalOcean with Forge, but you can also plug in it's a server management system. So as long as you have access to your server, it doesn't matter where it is. You can connect Forge to it as long as you have a root user account, and you can use that to manage all your sites and things like that on your Forge account. So we use Forge a lot for all of our staging servers at work. So all the different applications that we're working on for clients, we have staging servers that are set up, most of them in AWS. And then we have our accounts connected through Laravel Forge and things like that. So very interesting. Forge is definitely more for the person that's going to be or wants to be more hands-on and interact with their infrastructure. But Laravel Cloud is for somebody who just wants to be able to literally do like a push to main on your repository and then have it build out. And Cloud is nice because you can set up multiple environments based on the same repository. So you can have a dev. You build out the application, and then inside there you can set up different environments. Each environment can be linked to a specific branch. So you could have a dev, staging, production, things like that. So it kind of depends. You have to do all that manually in Forge. You have to set up those. That's one of the things I was doing today, was setting up a dev and staging environments for one of our clients. And it takes a lot longer to do in Forge, but some of the features that I needed to do, I needed to be able to have more control of. And so I tried starting doing it in Laravel Cloud, but I ended up having to move back to Forge just for the flexibility of being able to manage some stuff. So, but overall, they kind of do the same things, just different limitations, really. That's what it comes down to, in my opinion. Dan. Let's see. Ming says, I'm considering looking for opportunities in Hong Kong. Met a friend and her colleague she used to work with works at a large organization. She can get me connected with her. What are your thoughts on this move? I mean, so it kind of goes back to what we were talking about yesterday. At the end of the day, you've got to figure out what's the best move for you as an individual or for your family. If you're single right now, now's a great time to do things like that, to be able to travel and take jobs, kind of wherever the whim takes you, sort of, so to speak. But the big thing, to me, the big thing then is just do your research and make sure that if you do get an offer, that it's going to be able to cover your needs and those things. You don't want to take advantage of something that sounds cool but ends up being a hardship overall, especially long term, for the future too. So he's single and ready to mingle. There you go. All right, Ming. Calm down, Ming. Calm down. This is a family friendly. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it is, but there you go. Dan says, thanks for the overview. I've always deployed my Laravel sites with Docker onto Linode or DigitalOcean. I've never seen the purpose of either. Yeah, and that's fine. I have, so personally, I've used Laravel Cloud for a couple of sites recently because they were small and it literally could get it up and running super fast. So actually, they have a free version. Let me see. Let me just see what cloud. I don't know if this is going to go very well. I don't think I have. Sure. The whole purpose of Laravel Cloud was to was to make the deployment process super simple and super fast. What the what? I don't want to make a card. Let's take it against some as a company. I'm not sure I like this. Change page you go. Okay. I'm gonna move this and fill this out while you guys talk amongst yourselves. Sorry, I didn't know this was gonna do this. 1 second. So how's everyone doing? I can't do that. Where's my... So this is the problem of having multiple accounts. Now I gotta go find stuff just to get signed up for this stupid thing. And the other problem is I'm gonna have to remember to actually cancel this. So. It's thinking. It's trying to decide whether or not it lets me. Okay, here we go. So pull this back over here. Boom. All right. Create your first application. Let me see if I make sure everything's still running here. Boop, bloop. Okay, good. All right, GitHub. Dev Mentor Dave. Log in. Sure, you can have access to all of them. We're just going to connect the whole account. Let's see. Import a repository. Temp website. What was that? Did I even store that? I don't know. Packets. I'm trying to remember what this is. What's this Anybody remember what this temp website is? I don't know if I pushed that. Yeah, see, now I gotta go look. Hang on. GitHub. Helps if you type things correctly. What is temp website? Create next app. Let's see. I don't want to deploy a next app. Did we even put everything in here? Oh, this is what we did for my fake website. Okay. That has WordPress connected to it in the back end. I don't want to do that. Let's deploy the budget software we never finished and really didn't do a whole lot. All right. So deep pockets. Sure. Create application. Dun, 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 dun. All right. So we've got this network. We can create a database. Let's add a database to this. Create a database, deep pocket, sure. MySQL, sure. Yes, dev. Database cluster will cost $6 per month. Are there not other options? So again, I've got Postgres or MySQL. Not a lot of options here. Let's do custom configuration. Haha, there we go. Custom configuration. Is there... Need more compute? Oh, I don't need more compute. Okay, we'll just go with that. Storage. I don't really need tons of storage. This is not going to last very long. None. No backups. Okay. I'm gonna forget about this. I'm gonna get charged for it. It's gonna make me mad. Okay, create database cluster. All right. So, like one thing with this, you can do. You can have Oh, maybe it's on the enterprise. Enable public endpoint. Open it to the world. No. Okay. We're not gonna do that. So we've got our application server. We've got our database set up. You could actually add a domain here. You could add like a Bitbucket, or not Bitbucket, a S3 bucket to this if you wanted to. Again, this is all inside AWS. And we will save. We'll save. Okay. So let's see if it will actually deploy this bad boy. Deployment failed. Version is not supported. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. All right. So the other problem with this, which I ran into the other day, is you've got to make sure that you're up to date on your packages too. Otherwise, it'll just refuse to deploy, which in a sense is good because that means that it's forcing you to keep your projects up to date, but also a pain in the rear. Yep. Again, managed, right? So they get it all set up for you. You can make some selections and choices and things, but it's not yeah, so it's not necessarily my cup of tea unless it's something that's very straightforward. And this project so far behind. But I'll show you. So here's your application, right? So I could set up a new environment, and I could create it based off of a specific branch, if I wanted to. So we could do like live stream test, new environment. And then that environment can have all these resources as well, right? So you can build out this environment. You can build this environment totally different from the other one, if you wanted to. So, and you could replicate it. So again, lots of things that you can do here, but I don't. How do I get rid of this environment? That's the next question. Settings. Delete. There we go. Delete environment. Your current password. I don't know what it is. I made it up. There we go. Thankfully, Chrome remembers what it was. Okay, so we only got one environment, and then I can come back over here to my account. Probably go here, settings, delete application. Yes. Delete that. Bada bing. Goodbye. So, yeah. So I actually have my personal account. I think I pay the $20 a month. The free one, you just pay for your stuff as you go. $20 a month, I think, gets you access to more things. As always, everybody wants to sell you something, so there you go. Bada bing. So that is Laravel Cloud. Now, Laravel Forge, you can do a lot more. Oops. You can do a lot more access to your databases and things like that. So anyway, there you go. So that is Laravel Forge and Laravel Cloud. So I had something on here I was going to say, and I don't remember what it was now. I don't know if I can find it again. Oh, well, we're already at about 30 minutes anyway. So there you go. Good job, guys. You got me off on a tangent with Laravel Cloud. I kind of got myself off, let's be honest. I got myself off track, and there you go. Less complexity and less quality. There you go. Plus, everything's in JavaScript. Why would you want to write everything in JavaScript? That's horrible. Danny, he makes both of us laugh, and that's why we keep him around. So there you go. I'm also just a cheapskate. Yeah, $5 a month is hard to beat. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's one thing. So one thing I do like about something like using Forge or even Cloud probably more is your costs can be much more managed because you know how it's set up without having to go in and do all those settings and tweaks and everything. I mean, because the application that I'm working on right now for a production build, It's going to be pretty. It's not going to be so. It's a Laravel application, so it's not going to have to take advantage of all of the um, different services provided by AWS, but it's definitely going to be a little bit more complex than just um, a basic Laravel application, right? Laravel's not ancient, man. It's up to date. Didn't you see those cool looking sites? Yeah, exactly. Spend caps, yeah, that's true. You got to have a budget manager for sure. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, thanks for jumping on, Ming and Dan and whoever else might have been bouncing in and out along the way. If you happen to be watching this later on YouTube, leave a comment and a question, and I will answer those either in the comment section or on a future video. I should be here tomorrow, hopefully, barring any issues. Lots of work to do and going on, and will go on even tonight, but it'll all be worth it in the end. So hopefully that doesn't mean I have to cancel the live stream tomorrow, but we'll see. I'll keep you updated in Discord. If you're not in the Discord server, there's a link below the somewhere, depending on where you're at. If it's on YouTube, it's below the video. If you're watching this later, I think it's just on my profile on Twitch or whatever. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, have a good day, guys. I will talk to you later. Hopefully tomorrow, and we'll see you then.